financial updates. Charles. And here is Pat Noggle.
All right.
Welcome.
Pat, welcome.
Did you guys start already?
We started. We had a quorum.
The Pliget account, you can see the January 31st statement on the screen or at your stations there. $584,600 as of January 31st. Gives you an idea of how much interest we're accruing every year with this level of balance. Just the month of January alone, $1,800 in interest. So
Excellent.
yes,
Excellent.
that's great. Over in our liquid account, ACMB
Mr.
Bank.
Chairman, I'd
Yep.
just like to make a comment. I want to acknowledge Manager Gable's knowledge in steering the authority to Pliget, because it is enhancing our coffers greatly. So I think that was a very shrewd move and much appreciated, Charles.
Thank you for that, but once we spend all that money, we're not making any interest.
But we have more
But
to
still,
spend.
that's
too.
We
right.
have more to
That's
spend,
right.
That's true.
That was a good financial move. Thank you.
So you're welcome. Over in our liquid account, this is where we pay our monthly bills out of. Over at the checking account with ACME Bank, $206,000. Year to date, you can see with our new full year cycle billing, the bills for the 2026 cycle for stormwater went out in early January. You can see as of January 31st, we've collected $176,000. I don't have a sense of if that's typical for the first month of the invoices or not, but maybe Director Whitmore could illuminate that a little bit.
We did have an opportunity to have a conversation with Deborah Engel. She's unable to be here this evening, but the total payments, they're in line with years past. Our internal numbers show they've been continually increasing. We did have a substantial payment come in from one of our larger land property owners, so the numbers continue to go up. We aren't anticipating the level of delinquencies we had for 2025, but we will keep the board abreast if that does occur.
Thank you.
Concludes financial update unless you have questions.
Any questions? Okay. Okay. You mentioned the payments received, so that's covered. Liens filed. Adam's not here, but we're still not at that point, are we?
As it is right now, the ability for the Stormwater Authority to collect liens from outstanding accounts from the 2025 billing cycle, we will have a green light after February 20th. In practice, that will probably begin that process for March 1st.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? And I'm sure people will be paying in between now and March 1st.
They continue to pay, and actually we've been having quite a bit of success with the new online payment program. We're
good.
able to have people pay for everything now, and it's much quicker when we get them on the line.
Great. Great. That's good news. Grants, Charles.
A couple things in grants. The next round of the Build Grant, which we will receive this year, knock on wood, is due February 20th, I believe is the date. So I will be meeting with our representatives at Michael Baker to look over the rough draft of the next Build Grant application in preparation for that submission later this month.
And just so everybody knows, the Build Grant is for the Baltimore Street
That's correct.
pathway.
Right. So there's a group effort. Stormwater Authority, GMA, and the borough are joining forces, if you will, to apply for this grant because there's infrastructure needs that will be covered for all three entities with this grant when the project begins construction, hopefully in 2028. It looks like if we get it, construction in 2028. To that end, while the previous submissions of the build grant have been well received, it's always been given what's called a project of merit, which is highly scored, a very high ranking, which has never been able to get across the finish line.
But no money. Highly scored, but no money.
Right.
Right. Agree.
To that end, Chairman Malawicki and I and a few others joined a call with Senator Fetterman's staff last week. So we do have an audience with both sitting senators. Obviously, if you remember, Senator McCormick visited us right here in this room last November. Now we have the attention of Senator Fetterman, and we always had the attention of Congressman Joyce. So our 3 federal representatives are very well aware of this project, with the hope that they will make the connections in Washington, particularly with Secretary Duffy, to have this approved this 6th and hopefully final time. So fingers crossed on that. And we'll know in the fall when the awards are announced.
Okay. Any questions about how we're doing in this way? Okay. Updates. It's time for old business then. Chad, it's your show.
And if I could add one thing before I go into my engineer's report here for the grants. So last month, the Commonwealth Finance Authority released some awards, and I asked at that time if the flood mitigation grant that we applied for was included in that, and I was told it wasn't. So as far as I know, those awards have not been announced yet, so I think we're still waiting. I can follow up again with my grant writer to see where we stand with that. But that's for the Stevens Run. If you can remember, there's 2 different stages. You first got to do a design stage, and then you can do the implementation grant. So what we did was we split our projects up so that we can move ahead with priority 1, design paid for in-house, while we're applying for a grant for the design of priority 2. And then depending on how those shake out, then we can go into a grant application for the implementation. The maximum funding for those grants is $500,000. Right. So it's not going to cover the whole expense of a wall, but it certainly will help.
A wall section.
Section, correct. A wall section. Yeah. The whole project's
yeah.
$6 to $10 million, right? So we're looking at trying to do bite-sized pieces, like $1 million at a time, and maybe $500,000 might pay for half of it or something like that. So that's kind of the idea of how we move forward. We're waiting for.
Is this a matching grant? No.
So there is a match, but for the first one was only for the design, so it was a fairly small amount from what I can remember. I can't remember that number was. I think it might have been, I don't know if you remember, Charles, was it 20%? I can't remember.
20% sounds about right.
I feel like 20% was the right number.
Okay.
So that was one other thing with grants. So aside from that, I do have a couple of updates here from an engineering perspective, and there are a couple of items on our agenda. And of course, we know Deborah's been out, and Charles and we got our path crossed a little bit on Friday. We've just been really, really swamped with a lot of things. So next month on your agenda, we'll have a couple of other updates added to the agenda to make sure that we have everything captured. But I wanted to mention a couple of things. None of these things need to be acted upon tonight. So I wanted to make sure that that's an important piece of this, that I'm not speaking out of turn in terms of sunshine laws or what's been posted on your agenda. But for some updates, I want to go over the Gettysburg Station. We talked about that last month a little bit. This new SIMRAT development that has been just submitted. And I want to give you an update on the Gettysburg Middle School, which was done 5 years ago. So let me handle those things in reverse order. The Gettysburg Middle School completed, like I said, over 5 years ago. I think it was actually more like 7 years ago. They never finalized some permitting, as-built drawings, those kind of things. They're still closing out permits with the Adams County Conservation District. They never finalized the as-built drawings with the borough. And one of the sticking points there with that was who owns all of the pipes on the middle school property. And that's not just the pipes under the street, but that's the pipes also on their private property. So it's pretty clear that they own the pipes on their private property, but those stormwater facilities And the pipes that connect the big stormwater basins there, they go into and out of the Lefevre Street right-of-way. And you might remember whenever that was built, they moved to Lefevre Street. The new Lefevre Street has been dedicated to the borough, and the borough has since accepted the street. But there's always been that question of who owns the pipes below the street. So we're basically going to follow the long story short here is that the school district did agree to own and maintain all of their pipes. That's the important update for this. So on the council agenda tonight is going to be, there is a motion to approve the stormwater agreement. The agreements can't go through the authority. That has to go to the borough council. So the stormwater agreement between the school district and the borough, it's a standard cookie cutter agreement right out of the back of your stormwater ordinance. But this agreement has the caveat of it points to this as-built drawing, which has notes on it that say that the school district's going to own and maintain all of the pipes, even the ones in Lefevre Street. So the way that works is it's just like on a PennDOT road, where PennDOT's responsible for maintenance of the surface, the asphalt. They also take care of frame and grate. So if the frame and grate of an inlet needs to be adjusted, that's on PennDOT. Anything below that frame and grate, that's the box and all the pipes, is the municipalities. So we handle it the same way with the school district because of these pipes going into and out of, and the reliance on the stormwater facilities working relies totally on the functionality of these pipes. If the pipes don't work, their stormwater facilities don't work. So my argument has been, kind of feels like they should have responsibility for all of these pipes. They have agreed to that, and anything below the frame and grate, they will be responsible for. We've also included in that, if you can remember, there's a lot of discussions on the big 6-foot pipe that conveys what we call Weinbrenner Run. Weinbrenner Run's the one that goes through the Farnsworth, goes underneath of our Welcome Center, and then it goes through the school district property. There's a 6-foot diameter pipe there that they've also agreed that that is their pipe, which is kind of what we always assumed, but we just wanted to have that memorialized because we could never find documentation. You know, we're going through who owns Stevens Run walls, the same thing with there. We could never really find anything on that, and it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just, it's hard to find something from 50 years ago. So we did memorialize it.
They've agreed that 6-foot pipe is theirs.
Yep. And tonight, as of tonight, the council, as long as they agree as well that it's theirs, that'll be formalized.
Okay.
So that's just a quick
News.
update.
That's very good news.
There is an as-built drawing that we've reviewed. We went back and forth with them several times on this. We're pretty good with where it's at. I don't know that it needs a motion by you guys, but if you'd like me to bring it to you guys next month, I certainly can. Would you like to see that as-built drawing for all of the pipe work under the school district property that I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it doesn't hurt. I'll send it to you guys, and then you can see it. And if you have any questions next month,
Right.
you can feel free
But
to
it'll
ask.
be formally accepted by the borough tonight. That's
Yeah,
the main thing.
just
Yes.
and it's
It'll be
it's
for
an easy
information
acceptance
for
from the
us.
borough,
Okay.
right? They've agreed to own them,
Right.
so it's
So-
a no-brainer for the borough.
Yeah, that's
council,
the
right?
big thing. The as-bills we'll be happy to look at later, yes.
Exactly.
So the school's taking Weinbrenner Run's channel, or 6-foot pipe,
Mhm.
from the edge of the alley, under the senior high, the whole way through, comes out the other end of the what used to be the senior high,
Right, middle school now.
Yeah.
underneath,
Lincoln Elementary.
Lincoln,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right,
And-
I'm sorry.
underneath Lefevre Street, till it hits Park Service property.
So there's yes. Generally speaking, everything what you just said, yes to it hits.
It daylights right out.
Daylights right before
Right
the
by
Park
the hill,
Service
right.
property.
Yeah.
Right before our Culps Run stream restoration. Now the piece under Lefevre Street could be deemed as a bridge for our street. We need that pipe for our street. So there is a piece that's 50 feet of that's underneath of our road that if our roads would start to collapse, we would have to fix that pipe. But that's it. That's the only little piece that goes under Lefevre Street. The rest of it, they wanted we would have needed to have that one way or the other to carry our road across.
But that's concrete, right?
They wanted to, I believe so. Yeah, I believe that's an RCP. Yeah, but they wanted the pipe to basically for their parking lot. So it wasn't an open channel. They wanted to put a parking lot over it. So it's essentially they're responsible there. We want the street, Lefevre Street, so it's our responsibility for that piece. So whenever it ever comes down to it, the borough could have responsibility to contribute some money towards that 50 feet that goes over Lefevre Street. But that's it. That's the only part that we would have.
Okay. Pat, you had a question?
Yeah, so that arrangement, is that typical of all the underground utilities where the landowner owns the pipe?
That is, so I'm going to say, generally speaking, no. It's not typical where the property owners own the pipe, but it is a standard procedure for PennDOT. It's that policy with PennDOT owning the surface and then the borough being responsible for everything below it, that's a standard procedure. So that's kind of the framework we used. The only times whenever I've ever seen that the property owners start owning the pipe out in the public road is if it's needed for the conveyance of their facility. And in this case, it is. So again, if you look at the stormwater basins, and I'll be able to show you this next month whenever I send you the as-built, but the water goes into their basin and then back into the street and back into another stormwater basin, and back into the street, and then into the creek eventually. So without those pipes all working, their entire stormwater basins will not work either. So therefore, in this case, they're responsible. There are a couple of those cases. I've seen a Rudders one time. There's a gas station where they had pipes going out into the street, and without the pipes in the street working, their stormwater basin wouldn't work. So PennDOT in that case made Rudders own the pipes, including the ones in the street. So I wouldn't say that it's a common thing. I would say it's more common that they don't own the pipes in the street. But whenever whenever the pipes are required to convey the water for the stormwater facility, then it becomes more of a common thing. Did that answer your question or confuse you
Yeah,
more?
sure it did. Might raise other questions, but they agreed to accept it.
The bottom line is they've agreed to accept it.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. Any questions?
So that was that one. Going backwards there into three things I said. So SIMRAT, we just got that development. So last month I asked you guys if you wanted the applicant for the Gettysburg Station at one of your meetings. We decided that not this one. Give us a chance to review it. Then we asked them to be there next month. It's the same thing with SIMRAT. We just got another stormwater management review for that. It's for townhomes along Water Street, right next to the new physical therapy place in front of the Mason-Dixon distillery and that vacant lot right there. It does have a stormwater management component to it. Because it's over the minor project, it would come to you guys for review and approval. So you'll be getting my review on that over the course of the next couple of weeks here for discussion at your next month's meeting. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. That one, so this one I wanted you guys have, the Gettysburg Station I wanted you guys have in advance of the meeting so you could come with some thoughts. That one's fairly straightforward. All of the water is going to run downhill to the bottom of the hill where they have two big infiltration pits. It's fairly straightforward stormwater management facilities. So there's probably not a lot of need for you to get your heads into it in advance. But certainly if you wanted to see the plan in advance, you can reach out to John and he can forward those to you.
Can you send those plans to us by email as well?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that'll kind of whet our appetite, and then if we have questions, we can look at the big ones.
Perfect.
What size storm did you design it for?
They have to be designed for the 100-year event. The SIMRAT one you're talking about? Yeah. They had to use a 100-year event for the rate control, 2 for the volume. That's just following NPDES procedures. And our ordinance procedures. They're trying to sneak this thing just under an acre, so they don't technically need to follow. They don't need an NPDES. They're at like an acre's 43,560. They're like 43,450 or something like that. They're like just underneath this. So.
And can they get how many townhouses?
I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I'm guessing it's around 20. It's like 2 rows of 10. They're perpendicular to the street with a parking area in the middle. So, but the stormwater facilities are only need to. So some of that there's an access drive that goes into the Mason-Dixon distillery. This development's going right over top of that access drive. So some of that area is already existing impervious area that they get some credits for. So that goes into play too. So there's that one, and then finally going backwards, and Pat, I'm not sure if I got a copy of this. That is my review letter of the Gettysburg Station site. I did get some responses from a few of you guys. I had a conversation with Mike Malawicki on this, and I got some information from John. And I'll let you guys speak for yourselves, but to summarize, the conversation I had with you guys was mainly about maintenance of these things. And a lot of our conversations went back to, this is just a really crappy site for stormwater management. And I don't know how else to say it. And so, as you can see, we have a lot of comments here. There's 40 comments. So we're nowhere close to having any approval or anything. Of course, the applicant's going to be invited to your meeting next month for some discussion, but I'm hoping between now and then that we're going to be able to try to hash some of these things out. What I did in my review letter is I put comments of special concern through my first 7 comments, and then all the rest of the technical comments that are very detail oriented. So I would suggest that you would take a look at those first 7 comments. I just wanted to run through those real quick with you. The first one is the big ticket item. We're saying that the historical nature of this site, lack of infiltration, non-infiltration alternatives, MRC and ET credit rain gardens have been proposed, and we are just really concerned about those. There's these big stormwater facilities that they put in to pump all of this water underground, downstream of the facility, right uphill of the PICPI site. We know that there's groundwater issues that I don't believe their report took into consideration. And they have some pipes going underneath of a building. I think item number 7 here, they have a pipes that go through their parking garage structure that literally can't work.
Right.
Because you would run a car into the concrete structure. It's right in the middle of the drive aisle. It's obvious. Once they see that, they're going to realize it's a bust. There's just a lot of concerns that we have with this, and we would like to have just pull back with the engineer a little bit, and from a cooperative standpoint, talk to them about other alternative approaches. And we listed a couple there, A through F, on some alternative ways that they can manage stormwater without needing these big, huge facilities that we think are going to create an issue for us someday down the road, because we're going to be ultimately responsible for the maintenance. And that's, again, going back to the 2 things that Mike and John talked to me about, is we're concerned about the maintenance of these things. So we listed a couple of things that we would like to talk to them about, and again, from a cooperative approach. Is there anything we can do to make this simpler and not use these really complicated facilities with these big filter systems? And an MRC is manage release concept. That's what that acronym stands for. You hold all of this water in this huge underground infiltration facility, and then you release it through a 3/4 inch orifice. And the idea is the orifice is so small at 3/4 of an inch that it's de minimis. But the problem is, as you can imagine, pumping all of that water through a 3/4 inch hole leads to maintenance issues. So, and again, whenever these things are underground, out of sight, out of mind, they have these big infiltration or filter systems that have to go through. There's just a lot of concerns we have with it. So there's that one.
Chad,
Sorry, go ahead.
where's the 3/4 inch, where's it drain to?
So that big, you saw the plans, right? So the big MRC is kind of close to the alley, and then from there it discharges into the rain garden. And they have the rain garden, they're just trying to use ET credits. That's one of the things I want to talk about here. But they're suggesting that 1 foot deep of water is going to be able to evapotranspirate, and then from there it gets piped through the parking garage out to Stratton Street. And that's the parking out, the pipe through Stratton Street's where they have the structures that just aren't going to work. So it discharges first into the rain garden. That's where it discharges.
What happens if you get more water than the 3/4 inch pipe can release?
So they designed this thing, the capacity of the storage capacity of this thing
For the
to
100
hold all of that water for the 100-year storm event. If it gets to the point where it's over, because it could have a 500-year event, right? Then the inlets just surcharge and the water runs down the alley. So at that point, nobody designs
Yeah.
for that
All right, okay.
event. You know what I mean? That's a hurricane type of an event.
Chad, you said that we would be responsible for the MRC? Would that?
No, we would be responsible for making sure they're maintained properly.
Okay,
They-
because that's what we do now.
That's exactly
Okay,
right.
yeah. But we're not responsible for example, the cleaning out of this thing.
If it doesn't work right, and we got there and we do an inspection and it's not working right, then it's on them to fix it.
Right, and one of the things that I'm used to seeing with it, and I forgot to say this, I'll just throw it out and then you can keep going, is usually there's some sort of manhole or entrance to a part of this, an important part of this, where you can actually see what's going on. I don't remember seeing that in their proposal.
Yeah, they did have a manhole. Yeah.
Okay, then
Yeah, they
I
had
just
a
missed it.
The entire like MRC discharge thing with that three-quarter inch hole that I'm talking about is in a big, huge. It's actually two manholes. There's two openings, and it's all underground.
Okay, I only
this
saw,
whole-
got it. Okay,
Yeah.
good enough, thank you.
But then they have no way to get in without excavation. If they're not bringing the manholes up to grade.
No, those do. Those
those
have
come up to
two.
grade.
Yep, they come up to grade.
I think he's talking
You want me to
about
show
these
you
two
those on the plan there? Do you have it?
right
Yeah,
here.
see, yes. See, I missed,
We're talking about these, right?
Those two circles right there?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Those are
it.
both manhole.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, all right. And so they'll be like 7, 8 feet deep or deeper.
Yeah, yeah. And the bottom of this thing's gonna have a permanent pool of water that's, I think, about 1.5 feet that goes up to this 3/4 inch orifice.
Right.
And then it's got a weir structure that dumps the water over into the rain garden.
It just seems like it should be in another spot, but
It's concerning at very very least, and it's gonna be expensive for them to install. It's gonna be expensive to maintain, so if we can come up with a way to eliminate that system, we're gonna at least have some discussions with them.
Right.
So that was really the big ticket item with this. We're nowhere close to being ready to approve this thing because of our concerns with that. So I talked in number 3 was about a little bit of concerns about the rain garden bioretention volume. And I think I had. So this is whenever we talked about the 30% void ratio that's in the soils. And we have some concerns about that. And like I said, what they want to do with their rain garden is hold 1 foot of water and then rely on ET, evapotranspiration credits. One of the things that I forgot to say about the MRC is they are lining that entire thing with a impervious lining. So it's not intended to permeate. It's not
soil.
into the soil. It's going to have an impervious lining. It's just going to hold the water back and then release it through that 3/4 inch hole very slowly. The rain garden has a semi-permeable lining, so it's going to infiltrate very slowly is the goal. So slow that what they're really relying on is the ET credits. But 1 foot deep, in my experience, whenever you have a rain garden that's that deep of water, the plants in this area, in this climate, they don't live. I've seen it even at 6 inches deep of standing water where the plants won't live. It's not like we live in Florida where the marshlands are deeper and the climate allows for wet feet. It's just they usually die. So we have some concerns with the way that they're doing that ET credits. DEP has caught on to how these things are done, and they've changed. You can see we made a note here about using the updated version of the DEP regulations and spreadsheets on this because they also have these same concerns. So they're going to be getting hit from the conservation district side as well with that same thing.
I have another question. You said the 3/4 inch discharge is like a 1.5 feet from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So when the water goes below 18 inches, you're always going to have
Permanent
a
pool.
pool of water under the ground there?
Permanent pool. It never goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are the negative implications of that? The dampness?
To me, the biggest thing is the maintenance component to it. Again, that eventually, it does have pre-filter systems. It's capturing mostly water off the roof of the building, so we aren't going to have like really dirty water going into this. But even a roof, it's impossible to keep all dirt out of it. So eventually, it's going to build sediment in the bottom of this thing, and in the wintertime, it's going to freeze. So I don't know. There's a lot of concerns I have with it. It is a procedure for stormwater management to have a permanent pool in some places, but in situations like this where you have a really densely populated area and built out area, that's not necessarily the good spot for it. Maybe out in a suburb is a better spot for it, where you don't have other buildings and structures and foundations and potential issues with the groundwater.
This might be a dumb question, but you said it's impervious. Why wouldn't you make it pervious so it drains that water?
They did some investigation, rightfully so. That's a brown site, so there was old coal mine or coal dump, not coal mine, but a coal dump once upon a time there, and so it's got environmental regulations, environmental concerns about infiltrating too much water. So that's why they don't want to put water in the potentially contaminated soil.
But that
Makes
was on the
sense.
other side of Stratton Street.
Who knows what was there for years? Who knows?
Well, for a long time, it was Gitlin's junkyard.
Right.
I heard a junkyard, and I also heard about coal storage.
Coal storage, now I'm 72, but we go back to when I was running around on a bicycle terrorizing the neighborhoods. The coal storage was on the east side of Stratton Street, and the west side of Stratton Street was Gitlin's junkyard.
Okay.
And pretty much Gitlin's junkyard ran from pretty much the alley that goes out to Stratton Street the whole way down to the Tiber. And the whole way up to the back of the properties that were on Stratton Street. And it was piled pretty high. In those days, the junkyard took anything and everything. So when that was hauled over to beyond the college site, the junkyard moved from that area over to some of the current railroad property and back in about where the parking lot is for the stadium at the college. A lot of stuff got buried there.
But prior to your junkyard, you had the Gettysburg and Hanover Railroad there from 1858. So there could conceivably be a lot of coal.
So
Stored
brown
there,
site
yeah.
makes sense,
I have a question about that, though. Aren't you, if you do a brownfield development, aren't you supposed to mitigate all those hazards?
Was it remediated at any point?
I don't know about that. There will be some reviews whenever they go through the NPDS process that they're going to have to be able to show that any potential contaminated sites are going to have to be mitigated. I don't know how DEP handles that. Whenever it's an NPDS permitted site, we defer to them. They're better experts at this than we are. What I understand about it is it's typically to the depth of disturbance. So I don't know how much that they'll have to be what kind of mitigation they'll have to do. But I think there is going to be some discussions of that during the NPDS process.
Yeah, it's a question of how deep.
Right.
Right. And I'm familiar with mitigation. I did the college old junkyard and railroad site when the old Gettysburg Railroad engine house. And they only went down a couple, 3 feet.
Right.
And burned everything. I mean, it was an interesting situation, but they did not go down like Pat, like 7 or 8 feet and dug everything up. I suspect there at the college, if you dug down deep enough, you're gonna find all sorts of junk under the, but they have a certificate that is mitigated, Bunny.
Yeah, we found some interesting stuff when we moved Constitution Avenue from
Right.
college.
Yes,
I
right.
was involved in that a little bit.
Yeah.
They're just some things that we're not sure if they took full credit, because they only need to do 20%. I mean, that site's essentially existing impervious area, the whole thing, or has been at least at one point in time over the history of its use. So they only need to do stormwater management for 20%
Okay.
of the entire site. So we feel like there are some things that they could do there, some soil amendments. You know, they have that piece of the Gettysburg Inner Loop, the bike trail that goes through there, and there's they widened the grass strip with some street trees along that stretch to appease some planning commission comments. And I'm not sure that they took full credit of that grass strip there. And if they put amended soils, they could even get more credits. They can get 30% void space credits out of that grass strip. So we feel like there's other things that they could do that are going to be way better for them, that are going to be way simpler for them than these complicated systems. So
Yeah.
So-
But right now, it's basically all impervious, isn't it?
Yeah.
exactly.
The issue's being caused by the requirement for the stormwater management.
That
20%.
20%.
Yeah.
Yep. We had that rule that it's again, it's an NPDS rule, but it's also our rule as well. Our rules follow the DEP standard, but we got to call it making up for the sins of the past. We got to turn 20% of the site back to meadow.
Well, the other thing too is I think we want to be sensitive to the neighbors too. We don't want to cause problems with the water runoff of this station project, especially the people on Stratton Street, you know, down from Chad and Val Huber's house down to the Tiber.
It shouldn't cause more. I mean, it already is
It shouldn't.
100% impervious, so.
Right.
But, yeah, if you do anything, it's gonna improve it.
It should.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the other big ticket items that we noticed was the Rabbit Transit site currently has a rain garden in the back, and they have an O&M agreement with the borough to maintain that. And so they moved the Rabbit Transit site to Stratton Street, and now they don't show anything there. They left the label of a rain garden, but there's nothing shown there. So it seems to make sense that they would also have a little rain garden there, that they could handle some stormwater there. But again, if they could handle little areas here and diversify their stormwater with a little rain garden there and some amended soils here, we could potentially get away with it, get rid of this MRC altogether. So that's one of the things. And then, like I said, that number 7, that's the big ticket item there with the manholes in the parking garage. But I noted that earlier that they have a pipe that goes underneath of their new building, and we're trying to eliminate that anywhere we can in the borough when we have pipes that go under. Now, of course, in this case, it'll be a plastic pipe, so it'll be 100 years plus until it needs maintained. But we have major issues with that in the borough where there's pipes underneath the buildings, and it's usually because it's a old masonry arch chamber or a box, or it's a corrugated metal pipe, and they're collapsing, and people's basements are failing, and vehicles are falling into parking lots, and like literally some significant issues. So we try to avoid that if we can. So there's a lot of things that we want to work with them on to revise their design and make this more maintenance friendly.
So what you're telling us politely is kind of what I thought when I looked at it. It's really over-engineered.
I'll be politically correct. It's So I'll defend them for a sec, because I get it. These sites are really hard when you have existing impervious area like that, and there's nothing around. There's nowhere around to take this water to, and they're trying to meet these standards. They got to come up with these fancy things, and to get the numbers work, it's really difficult to get these numbers to work. So we, and talking to my stormwater gurus in my office, they understood why they did these things. because they were trying to get the numbers to work. But there's a little bit of a difference, in my opinion, from a functionality and a real world standpoint than just the theory and the math and getting the numbers to work.
So it sounds like we will be having a meeting next month.
Yeah,
And
they're
this will
they're
be-
invited. Yeah.
This will be probably the only thing on the agenda, the only major issue on the agenda.
Just in the town.
So far, yeah, and the townhouses.
Yep. In Stimrat. Yeah.
So you wanted anything more on the townhouses?
Nope.
Okay, any other questions? We'll keep rolling.
And I think there's a couple of other things on, yeah, okay, so really not too much to update you on the other things. Stevens Run, it's been cold, and the contractor hasn't really been out there to do anything, so my update last month hasn't really changed.
Well, is your office doing any work on the Stevens
Oh, I'm
Run?
sorry, I'm thinking of, I'm getting number 2 and 1 mixed up.
Yeah.
The Stevens Run Bridge, we have completed the design. We're in the process of doing our QA/QC review, and then that'll get sent to PennDOT. That has to have a structural adequacy review by PennDOT. So that'll probably happen next month. I'll probably be going to asking for the council to get authorization to bid that project in April.
You're
Too
talking
much
about
now.
the Water Street Bridge.
Now we're talking about the Water Street
Street
Bridge.
Bridge.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
Are you guys, because I do sign all these bills and I see this
Mhm.
stuff, there are hours that have been put in for the Stevens Run, and that relates back to the sections that we're trying to get grants for, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that being, that would be the west side of the bridge on Carlisle Street?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we've identified 3 priority areas and kind of a 4th. The one that Mike just said is our priority area. Number 1 is west of Carlisle Street. Priority 2 was behind like Gettysburg Glass. Priority 3 is on West Middle. And then number 4 that we also have been talking about more recently is right across from where we're doing the work on the alley behind Dollar General.
Right.
The what we call the Togus
Togus
wall.
Yeah, the Togus Wall.
Yeah. So
Yeah, those
that's
are the 4.
right along Bream Alley, across from Bream Alley, where we're replacing the wall in Bream Alley. Across from that, that's kind of the 4th priority area. That one hasn't been showing. That one's not considered a priority 0, where you have to do inspections every 6 months.
Mhm.
The one behind Water Street is. So when you see the bills, every 6 months, you've got to do an inspection on them to monitor the rotation.
Okay, now, just real quick, and maybe this is a Charles question. What's happening with that house that's still boarded up that I thought was going to be renovated, that's right on the wall?
Cockles?
Cockles Corner house. I thought that was supposed
Oh,
to be
you mean
renovated.
by Carlisle Street, the old ugly mug building?
Yeah,
I don't
is
know
that-
the answer to that.
Sorry, Charles, or maybe it's,
It's being renovated
It is?
slowly, but it
Okay.
is. They have permitting for it. They went, it took a year to go through the floodplain permitting, as a portion of the structure is within the 100-year floodplain.
oh, no kidding, yeah, I agree.
I would think so.
Yeah, okay, so there's work being done, good, I was just curious.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sorry. Keep going.
So number 2 there, that was when I was out of turn. That was the GMA interceptor projects associated with the Bream Alley wall. It's cold and they haven't really
They have
done
a
any work.
board.
Yeah, they're not working.
Okay, I think so.
The West Lincoln Avenue project is going good. Our design's pretty much complete with that. We've been marrying our design with GMA's design and Columbia Gas's design. So Columbia Gas is working. They're out there working. They're moving along. Of course, it's cold, so it's slow going for them as well. But they have been moving on theirs. And then GMA, from what I understand, is going to be putting their project out to bid here soon, within the next month or 2. And then ours is going to be last. So that'll be something that'll just ride on our agenda for the next couple of meetings. And then I'll be letting you know whenever we're going to be ready for
Okay.
putting our project out to bid.
Is that figured for completion in 26 or 27?
Yes. We're hoping to get our pipe work done this year. The reality is, until you get 3 different utility companies through, we might be in the fall
Yeah.
bad weather season to where we can't get it paved until the spring of 27. So I think the utility work is going to be done. I think the paving and the street's not going to be nice again until the spring of 27.
Well, if all the digging doesn't finish up till the fall of 26, actually letting that sit till the spring of 27 would be to our favor.
That's a good thing. Let Mother Nature do it, because
Yeah.
we can try to govern compaction, but it's always better just let rain get on it. Absolutely.
Okay, any questions? And our punctured stormwater pipe.
So we did finalize our letter per our discussion last month. Charles did deliver that letter to Med Ed, so I'm not sure if we've heard of response yet or not on that.
That was going to be my update,
Okay.
that they did receive the letter currently on the screen.
Yep.
I want to make sure that the world knows about this.
Right.
That's why I have it on the screen, so people at home can start reading it. And we'll see what they say. I've not had a chance to follow up with the PUC, but it's still on my agenda to do.
Well, hopefully Med Ed will give you a call and start talking about this sooner than later.
Yeah, they need to fix it.
Absolutely.
Did we give them I read the letter, but I forget, did we give them a timeline?
We did.
When they
We
had
did.
to repair?
June.
Okay.
Right.
And if not, we're gonna repair it and sue them?
Well, that's an option.
Well, knowing how they handle the ghost poles, I think you're headed that way. I'd be surprised if it doesn't go that way.
Yeah. So we'll see. To be determined.
Okay. Any
So
questions?
You didn't copy PUC on that letter, right, Charles?
I did not. I was going to file a formal complaint with them.
Okay. After we get a response from 'em, if they say yes, there's no complaint, would that be?
I didn't think about parsing it out that way,
Mhm.
but I mean, I'm willing to take direction from you if that's what you wish.
Well, just, our goal is to fix it, right?
Right.
Uh,
At their cost.
At their cost.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they need to make a proposal. They need to react to what we've said, and then we can evaluate, right?
Hmm.
They may tell us to take a hike. Who knows?
You
Right.
were gonna file
just-
a complaint before, right?
I'm sorry?
You were gonna go ahead and file a complaint, right?
Yeah, that had been my intention. It's been busy. I just hadn't had a chance to do that yet. John researched the process to do that, and we're ready to do that when we find some hours to get it done.
That'd be my vote, to go ahead and file a complaint. My experience with Med Ed and what we've seen, you'd be lucky to get a response.
My reaction is I leave it to you guys to make that decision, because who knows what Med Ed will say if they say anything, right?
Right, I don't think they're gonna say anything.
You know, I think 21st, they got it by the end of January. You give them a month to respond. You don't hear from them, then I think it's,
Well,
you can,
I think if you file it before you hear a response, it could provide some leverage to the response. Yeah, if you don't
Mhm.
respond positively, then we'll file a complaint. But if you want to do it up front, PUC should know that there's issues here.
Yeah, I agreed.
yep. It's in your hands. So
Okay, sounds good.
We'll support you. Any other comments on anything that's been said with the updates? Okay, there is no new business. Any other items that might be of interest to the board that need to be discussed? Not hearing any. Turn to public comment. There's no public, no comment. Let me just say, next month, we will have a meeting. The two major agenda items will be the Gettysburg Station project and the townhouses, so mostly it'll be the Chad Show, and lead us through, and we'll ask questions and talk to the folks that represent the developer. developers. Okay? All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Not hearing any? Let's be done for the month. Thank you. See you next month.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order this business meeting for the Borough Council for the Borough of Gettysburg, February 9th, 2026. Would you all please join me for our moment of silence and a pledge to the flag?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. An executive session was conducted by the Borough Council of the Borough of Gettysburg immediately following the adjournment of its work session meeting held on February 2nd, 2026, consistent with Section 708A1 and Section 708A5 of the Sunshine Act. An executive session of the Borough Council will be conducted immediately following the adjournment of this evening's monthly general business meeting, consistent with Section 708A1 and Section 708A5 of the Sunshine Act for the following purposes. 1, to provide updated information and to discuss matters involving the employment or appointment of current or prospective borough employees. And 2, to review and discuss matters of borough business which, if conducted in public, could lead to the disclosure of information or confidentiality protected by law. I would take a motion, please, to approve the February 9th, 2026 agenda as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We have an agenda. I would take a motion to approve the minutes of the Borough Council meeting of January 12th, 2026, the public hearing liquor license transfer on January 12th, 2026, the public hearing CDBG on February 2nd, 2026, council special meeting on February 2nd, 2026, and the Borough Council work session held on February 2nd, 2026, as presented.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Are there any omissions, corrections, additions, or errors? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. At this point in the evening, I would like to invite our good friend, Mr. Al Moyer from the Gara, to the podium up there. He's going to be giving us a special presentation on the status of the Recreational Authority. Mr. Moyer.
Thank you, President Moon and everyone. And before I get started, I do have to say a big thank you to Mr. Gable and everyone here at the Borough team, everyone. You have been incredibly supportive. Anytime I have a question or an issue, I can always count on you all to help us out, and it's much appreciated. Also much appreciated is the fact that not only did you take care of our first installment this year already, but you helped us out additionally with some of our capital improvements by the extra support that you've given us. So thank you. On behalf of our board and the community, thank you. I do want to recognize two of our board members that are here with me tonight for moral support, I believe, Mr. Tom Demko and Mr. Warren Shepard. With that, I have a presentation. I'll make it as quick as possible because I know how busy you all are. We're excited about all the things that are happening at the park right now. Last year when I was here, I shared with you a lot of what we were doing for the community. This year, most of what I'm going to show you tonight is what the community is giving back to the rec park, and it's pretty exciting what's happening. I would just say to start off this year, last year, according to Destination Gettysburg, we had 14,000 cell phones on July 4th at the park. Now, if someone left and came back, it may have counted them twice, but then anyone that didn't have a cell phone, it didn't count them at all. So we're expecting probably closer, Warren, I think we said we expect around 20,000 people this year, which is kind of cool. We already have 2 bands. We're going to have about 30 food and drink vendors and a lot of other exciting things happening out there. And Destination Gettysburg is adding $5,000 more to an extended fireworks display. So it should be pretty cool this year for the 250th. We recently recognized Steve Williams, who left the area. He was a former long-term employee at the park, and no one was better at field preparation for the Little League than Steve, but he was also the director for a period of time out there. And that's our chair and vice chair, Steve Niebler and Steve Toddes, that are there in that picture. So we thanked him. We're doing a whole lot more of in-house work rather than outsourcing when it comes to our equipment, and that's saving us a whole lot of money. We are stopping the money bleed out there, and that's no criticism of anyone that was there before, but we can do a lot of this work in-house. This is a picture out there, and if you live in Colt Park, you may not be too big of a fan of this because all of the lights now, thanks to Warren Shepard here, who is up in the big green monster there with an electrician about 30 yards away from the medic vac, and I think that was shaking you guys up there a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, Warren. But all of our stadium lights are now functional, these 2,000-watt bulbs and others. What we found was after 40 years, the birds, the squirrels, and the weather really did a job on the wiring up there. But once we fixed the wiring, most of the bulbs, believe it or not, worked. We had to replace some, but so we're making great progress there. And in the summertime, when we've got all the baseball going on and soccer and so on, it's pretty lit up out there that time of year. We had a great donation from Gettysburg College for I'm going to say thousands of dollars worth of furniture that they were no longer using, that was in storage, that they donated to us, and that was a really nice donation from the college. And if you get out to the Sterner building, we'd love to show that off to you. The dog park continues to be one of the big draws out there. Our signage, due to the weather and just period of time and whatnot, it was very difficult to make those words out. So we've got new signage out there at the dog park, so everybody's clear on the expectations. I recently gave a presentation to the Council of Governments out there, and as a result of that, we're getting more and more cooperation from some of the other local municipalities, which is long overdue, frankly. This is Director Steve Toddes with Dave Snyder, the trades instructor from the Adams County Career and Technical Institute, and they're out there planning for our North End playground. As you may recall, we were granted a county green space grant. We found a matching donor for that. That is now completely installed, and it's beautiful, frankly, and we're very proud of that. One of the nice things that's unique about this new playground is that it will accommodate students or young people that might have some physical disabilities, so it's pretty cool. That's another picture there of one of the Buddy Swing, which is one of the apparatus that I was talking about. It's amazing what little you get in playground equipment for $35,000, $40,000, believe it or not. But I will tell you, as a result of Dave Snyder and the ACTI team that was out there, this playground will outlast a lot of us. It's really well done. This is the lacrosse team, 8 guys from the lacrosse team at Gettysburg College who came out on a weekend to help me repurpose the Fireman's Pavilion that are out there. So we've cleaned that out. We had a master electrician help us out with the wiring in there. So we believe when we have big events out there, like our music festival and July 4th and other events that are out there, we're going to be able to generate some revenue because of the great location that our Fireman's Pavilion is in. So a big thank you to Gettysburg College lacrosse team. This is the high school wrestling team that's been out there. This was the United Way Day of Caring. They helped us to refurbish several of our picnic tables and helped us refurbish some of the benches that are out there as well. A great group of guys. They worked so hard, we actually ran out of work for them to do, so we had them help out with some other projects that were going on in the park that day. This is Megan Doolittle, a fancy French chef. She actually just got back from France a little while ago. We now have 2 shared kitchen agreements, and Megan is one of those. She's opening up her own bakery on Baltimore Street pretty soon, and we have another person that's interested in helping us out. The kitchen, for the longest time, had not been used, and it was sitting there dormant. So we're generating a little revenue from the kitchen out there, and Megan's been terrific. Front Runner Construction recently totally refurbished the storage and press box for our Gettysburg Little League. Warren and I estimate that with the labor and materials, Warren, I think we said approximately between $12,000 and $15,000 worth of a donation out there. That was Front Runner Construction. Mike Bucher and Brandon Shelton are the 2 CEOs in that group. So we really thank them a lot as well. They plan on doing a lot more for us, so we're going to keep that relationship going. My daughter, who's one of the co-directors of the musical at the high school, they had a big set not too long ago, last year, and they had all this extra lumber that ACTI wasn't using, and so we thought we could repurpose that lumber and possibly make shelves and for all kinds of other miscellaneous purposes out at the rec park. We estimate that to be worth $3,500, somewhere in that range of a donation from the school district. That's just a listing that I showed you before of about 40 things that we host and facilitate at the park. We do not take the lead on all of those things, but we do take the lead on some of those things, and we heavily facilitate and help and make sure those things go off well. Another thing that we've done, we have a small part-time staff. So with Little League really expanding the number of teams, this past year they had 17 teams, plus we're adding some softball there. We needed some help from those Little League parent volunteers, and they have responded. This was a weekend where we had them out there and we were training them on appropriate field preparation and maintenance. And we had about 30 volunteers, and they're helping us out in the future, and that's really helping out our small part-time staff. Thanks to Chrissy Redding, we were able to get over the hurdles, and we did qualify for small games of chance. So again, another revenue generator for us. The benches and some of the lawns out there and the grass, thanks to Warren and a number of other people, are really coming along. Thanks to our staff, it's great to see that curb appeal. Mike Carter, one of our Little League parents and a master electrician and a neighbor of mine, has been out there on several occasions and helped us out with doing a lot of the electrical rewiring. I won't go, it was a little bit of a challenge, but again, with animals, weather, and just time, it needed a lot of work. But Mike 100% donated all of his time, which is fantastic. This is one of several groups, and this is the Church of the Brethren, a community group from the church on the Biglerville Road that once a month will come out, no questions asked, and they provide a community meal out there on a monthly basis, all year round. Over the winter time, we get between 60 and 75 people at these community meals, and it's been a real plus for our community. I've shared with this group, I believe they're going straight to heaven when they die. This was out at the Giving Spree at the Wyndham. Miss Pennsylvania was with Steve, Warren, and myself. I think we were her favorite group of all the groups that were out there. We're self-proclaiming that, by the way. And then with all, again, with my board, and, Warren's help, and just a lot of community support, Community Media of South Central PA recognized us as the Rising Impact Award for an organization for the year 2025. So it feels really good to be appreciated, and it's been great, as you can tell with those photographs, getting all the support from the community. So I feel like we do a lot for the community, but this past year the community has really given so much back to us. And that concludes my presentation. I have two directors here for support. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have for us.
Well, that is one of the most optimistic and enthusiastic reports we've ever had from the park. You and Warren and
It's a team effort.
Tom and every Steve you can find are doing a tremendous job out there. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Moyer and his team? That's really great stuff. I hope you get a
thank you,
chance
thank
to
you.
meet Mr. Rio, who's going to be our liaison with Garrow's board. And thanks for that. Thanks all of you. It's some amazing work getting done. All right. That's right. That's right. All right. The next item before us is public comment. This first section is restricted to items appearing on tonight's agenda. If you'd like to speak, we ask that you use the podium. Please state your name and address of residence, and please limit yourself to 5 minutes. Is there any public comment this evening? All right. Seeing none, we will move on. We're going to start this evening on our current and old business with Mr. Whitmore in the Planning Department.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the introduction. The Planning Department will be doing planning, zoning, code enforcement in addition to historic and environmental preservation this evening. The reports were provided. You will probably see that our permit tracking is a little bit different with the new software vendor that we're using. Our reports have changed. We're going to be modifying those reports, but the format is going to be a little different for the foreseeable future. We hope to be able to have our annual reporting completed for 2026 in the next week, having a format from that planning document then to continue and provide council with information in that way. Otherwise, though, we can provide information on the additional 3 projects related to HARB approval for COA. If you have any specific questions, those projects, 2 of them involve windows and 1 involves the construction of a new accessory structure at the train station location on North Washington Street.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Whitmore before we get to the motions? All right. Would anybody care to make any hard motions?
I'll make a motion to accept the HARB Old Business recommendation for COA-250094, Major Project 37 Breckenridge Street, Joshua Niederheiser for the window replacement project to include the replacement of 3 existing wood windows with Window Nation double hung, no grid, full screen windows, conditioned that Pravia style windows be used.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The next motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA-250101, Major Project 106 North Washington Street, Gettysburg Railway for the new shed installation project conditioned that the applicant matches with paint the proposed color of the shed roof and siding to the color of the existing train station by the spring season.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. And the last one.
I'll make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA-260001, Major project, 31 Buford Avenue, Snyder's Design LLC for the rear window installation project to include the installation of 2 white Pravia Endure 32 inches by 32 inches windows on the rear facade facing West Racehorse Alley.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Any questions for Mr. Whitmore before we move on? All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Gable in the Parking Department.
As I foretold that I thought we were going to end the year in parking revenue with a record, the answer to that is we have. As you can see here in this graph, tracking parking revenue dating back to 2016, we conclude the year just about over 1.6 million in parking revenue. This does not include fines and forfeits. That's a whole separate revenue category. So this is just parking fees and permit fees. Phenomenal year. We'll see what 2026 brings us with probably above expected traditional norms when it comes to visitation, especially as we get into the later part of the year after July 4th, 250th commemoration. On your agenda tonight, you have a motion. We talked about this at the workshop last week. This is a formal memorandum of agreement between the borough and the county court system, where jurors park for free in Racehorse Alley when they are called to do their civic duty. So unless you have any questions, we could entertain that motion or anything else that you may have about parking.
Any questions for Mr. Gable? Would anybody care to make that motion?
Sure. A motion to authorize the execution and delivery of a memorandum of understanding by and between the Borough of Gettysburg and the County of Adams for parking services for citizens called to jury duty. J. Matthew Moon, President of Borough Council, and Sarah L. Stahl, Borough Secretary, are hereby authorized to sign, attest, and execute and deliver the memorandum of understanding on behalf of the Borough of Gettysburg.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Any questions about parking before we move on?
Yes. A gentleman had raised the point that if we had shift our parking times, I believe it was from 8 to 8 to 10 to 10, that we could. Has that been looked into at all?
We are actually tracking that now so that as we get into budget deliberations later this year, we'll have data to support such a potential move.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
It is a fascinating suggestion, and normally we would task the parking director with that sort of research. As that position is currently vacant, we are short on staff. If there was anyone on council who wanted to work with the manager's office to help with that research, that would be a huge service. So think about that if it's something that interests you.
So I'll tell you how we're gathering the data. So our parking staff, whether that's our full-time or part-time officers that are on routine parking duties, at 7:30, they do one last walk through town and count the cars.
Okay.
With the assumption being made that those cars would be there past 8.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have a firm number of what we could collect at least in the hour between, say, 8 and 9, based on who's parked at 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
We might consider engaging with volunteers to do something similar in the morning as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, so if anybody would like to work with the borough staff on that, please let us know. Anything else? All right. Mr. Harbaugh is not with us tonight.
I have a brief update from him. Just a reminder that if you still are in possession of a real Christmas tree, the
Seek
borough. What's that?
Yes.
Seek help.
Right.
I have mine.
We do still plan to collect those through the 27th of February. So just put those at curbside, not on the street, but on the curb. And our public works folks will come pick those up. Again, a live tree, well, a tree that used to be alive, but no longer, because we can recycle that. We can't recycle a fake tree. Snow removals is still ongoing. After our big storm 2 weeks ago, and the incessant cold, it just has not helped melt anything away, obviously. So right now, the folks over in our Public Works Department are still hauling snow out of town, and we'll do that through the rest of this week, and then they'll be done finally.
Yeah, I did want to speak to that a little bit. I think we've probably all had folks approach us with issues or complaints around where snow has been removed and where it hasn't. How come side streets aren't done? Well, we do have a formula that sort of dictates priorities for snow clearing. We also have a very, very small team of people who have been working every night for 2 weeks, and they really are doing their best to get this done, but they do have to prioritize certain streets, certain routes, certain parking spaces. So I know it's been a frustrating situation for lots of folks, but I'm just asking the public to be patient. A very small team of 6 people working every single night for 2 weeks, and they're trying to get as much done as they can, so please, if you see them, extend them some kindness and whatever patience you can muster, please.
I do have something to say, because I did talk to Mr. Harbaugh about this, because I had some observations about some of the side streets that seemed like they weren't plowed. First of all, the salt doesn't melt under 15 degrees. And in my neighborhood, like Howard Avenue and some other ones, it doesn't get the traffic, and the traffic really accelerates the melting. So it looks like they're not doing it, but really with some of the other well-traveled roads, it's just all those cars that go. So they're doing the best that they can, and like Matt said, let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing a really tough job.
Yep. All right, any questions about Public Works before we move on? All right, thank you. Mr. Claybaugh.
Good evening, Council. You have a copy of my written report. It's been a really busy month, believe it or not, even though it's really cold. That's when engineers are actually the busiest, because we're trying to get everything ready, do the design work, trying to get ready for the spring construction season. So there's a lot on my report, but I'm going to focus my attention tonight on the 3 motions that are on your agenda. I did present 2 of these 3 things at your workshop meeting last Monday night. The first one there is for the project at 95 and 99 Steinway Avenue, dubbed the Dobbin House Park. It's for the Charters of Freedom. I described it as a chicken and egg thing last week, and in which we have to demo a building, move a building, and build a new building while doing a subdivision, and doing all of those things at the same time is a logistical issue. The way around that logistics is having a developer's agreement. The developer's agreement here, in this case, is just the property owner, Mrs. White, agreeing to finalize that subdivision process. There's really nothing that the borough's agreeing to other than allowing her to move forward with the process. It's more about the developer here, and it's not really a development by the definition of the MPC. But it's a developer's agreement, so we call it the developer, Mrs. White, is agreeing to finalize that subdivision process, so we aren't left with a property line that goes through a building once the building is moved. So that's essentially what we're trying to avoid here, is that we don't have a zoning conflict at the end of this thing, essentially. So you do have that on your agenda for approval. The next one that we talked about last week was the 2026 street work. What I presented there was that we would be under budget without Constitution, potentially over budget with Constitution. The direction I got from you guys was to include Constitution, so I did include that in the bidding documents that you received. So I'm just asking for your authorization to advertise that project. That's all you're doing tonight, is just advertising. We'll send those bids out this week. They'll be in the newspaper on Friday, And then next month, you'll have an opportunity to review the bids, and we'll make that decision at that point if we want to include or exclude Constitution like we talked about last week. And then the last motion that's on your agenda tonight is a stormwater O&M agreement with the Gettysburg Area School District. So this is a little bit unique. It's the standard cookie cutter stormwater agreement right out of the back of your stormwater ordinance. It's something that we've done many a times. Anytime somebody wants to build something that requires a stormwater facility, there's this O&M agreement that says that they're going to agree to maintain and own their own stormwater facility, not the borough. This one's a little bit unique in that the middle school was built 7 years ago, and they still have some outstanding permits. And one of the things that at the time that happened after the construction wall was done, they relocated Lefevre Street during that process, and they dedicated the street to the borough. But we never finalized the discussion on the stormwater pipes that are under the street. And those pipes go into the street right of way, and then they go back out of the street right of way to their stormwater basins, and then back into the street right of way, and then back out. And so they're really needed. These pipes are really needed for their stormwater facilities to function properly. So I questioned why the borough should be responsible for owning these things, and suggested that the school district that would be responsible for that. And lo and behold, they agreed to that. So this is good news to the borough, to the borough stormwater authority. I did present this to the stormwater authority earlier. While this is just your standard cookie cutter stormwater agreement, it has a really important component to it, that it points to this as-built drawing that has notes on it that has the school district agreeing to owning all of the stormwater pipes, not only the ones on their private property, but also the ones under Lefevre Street. And then there's another component to it as well. There's a pipe that we often questioned who owned the pipe. We call it the Weinbrenner Run. It's the Culp's Run. It starts at the Farnsworth house, that little channel that goes through the Farnsworth through our Welcome Center, and then it goes through the middle school. There's a big 6-foot diameter pipe that conveys that water through the school district property. They have also agreed that that's their pipe, and that they're going to continue to own and maintain that pipe. So all good news here to the borough. So it's a no-brainer that you guys would approve this agreement that basically says that the school district is going to agree to own and maintain these stormwater pipes. So that is it for my updates, unless you guys have any questions.
Yeah, any updates on North Washington Street and the pipe that got broken?
You're talking, okay, so yeah, North Washington Street, that's the Med Ed pool. So we did send the letter to Med Ed, and that conversation actually came up with the Stormwater Authority as well. We're waiting for Med Ed to respond. That's where it stands right now. So, Charles, did you want to add anything to that?
I'd just add that we know they received it because I directly emailed it to the government rep for Med Ed. The Stormwater Authority made a good suggestion during their meeting just before the council meeting here tonight, and that was to essentially wait 30 days from delivery of that letter. And then if we don't hear from them, we should reach out to them. And subsequent to that, if we don't get any movement from Med Ed, then we file the formal complaint with the PUC. That way we can justify the complaint even more with the PUC, saying we've tried to remediate this on our own to no avail, and then let the Public Utility Commission do what they do.
So this could take months.
Well, in the letter we gave them a fairly truncated timeline to fix this, and that would be this year by the middle of the summer. So if that does not happen, then litigation is also another option that the council would have.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions for the engineer? All right. Would anybody care to make the first motion?
Sure. A motion to approve the developer's agreement for the minor final subdivision and land development plan for 95 and 99 Steinway Avenue, associated with the Dobbin House Park and Charters of Freedom project.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I just have a question. I have no concerns about this motion or decision. I'm wondering about the development of the park and what would be next steps. Will we ever, I mean, is she free to do whatever she wants with this park, or is that the sort of thing that we'll see renderings of, and is there anything?
So there was renderings provided to the Historic and Architectural Review Board when we went through the process of, we had to get approval from them for the demo of the old building and the relocation of the building. In terms of the permitting for the next step, John, is that's not something that comes to the council necessarily, is
No,
it?
typically, in the municipality's planning code provides that council would review a subdivision and land development plan. However, the Borough of Gettysburg, that process is completed by the Planning Commission.
So I think the answer to your question maybe comes down to it, and Mrs. White is here, I believe. Did I see? Hi, Jackie. And maybe Jackie wanted us to respond whether or not it's okay to share those drawings with you all. We will be doing a design on that over the next couple of months here. It's not finalized yet, but that would be something if it was up to Mrs. White, if she would like us to share those with you guys, we could always do that.
All right. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The street work motion, please.
Sure. A motion to authorize the borough engineer to advertise the 2026 street work for construction bids.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And then the O&M agreement.
Motion to approve the stormwater management practices, facilities, and systems maintenance and monitoring agreement with the Gettysburg Area School District associated with the stormwater improvements at the new middle school and Lincoln Elementary Schools.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any questions for the engineer before we move on? All right. To the police department, Sergeant Evans.
Good evening.
Evening.
Just two quick things. We have identified some issues with our online reporting for the police department. The borough website is being updated, and hopefully, and I think in the next couple months, that's going to be rectified. But if anybody in the public has any issues submitting online reports, we just recommend that you contact either 911 or you contact us directly, or the Adams County non-emergency number. So that way, you call that, it'll be logged, and we'll make sure you get the appropriate police services that you need. The only other thing I have is an update on Officer Salty. On his FTO, he's doing great. Hopefully, he'll be off FTO by either the end of the month or the beginning of next month. Other than that, you have my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Certainly. Any questions for the sergeant?
Do you want to talk about a couple of the highlights? You got the $50,000 donation again from WellSpan.
Yes. So every year, WellSpan gives out, certain donations to first responding agencies within their area. Last year, we got $40,000. This year, they upped it to $50,000 after a meeting that myself and former Mayor Rita Freeling had with them. And they were generous enough to give us $50,000 to use towards any type of public safety is when it comes to health and wellness, PPE equipment, and things of that nature. So very appreciative. I want to say thank you to them, Mike Cogliano, Bob Riley.
Also notice you have a shout out to Courtney Riley, if you would.
Yes, Courtney Riley is our police records and support services coordinator. She is the heart and soul of the organization and the day-to-day operations. She takes care of all our internal workings and getting all the information over to the district attorney's office, the magistrate's office, all our filing and paperwork. She does an excellent job every day. And, her, I had to note it in there that she is just invaluable to our agency. So I just want to say a big thank you to her if she's watching.
All right, thank you. We do have a motion here. This is a motion to initiate a new civil service list. We do have a 14th position that we have still struggling to fill, and our last attempt to create a list unfortunately did not yield any Act 120 certified applicants, nor anyone we could send to the academy, so we do need to initiate a new list. doing that now enables us to go through the civil service process and hopefully be sending somebody to the academy if necessary this coming July, unless we get a Act 120 certified applicant. Would anybody care to make that motion?
Sure. I make a motion to authorize and provide notification to the Civil Service Commission of the Borough of Gettysburg to request the certification of an eligibility list by the Civil Service Commission for the position of entry-level patrol officer of the Gettysburg Borough Police Department.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Anything for the sergeant before we move on? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will move to the office of the manager and the treasurer. Ms. Stull.
There are motions under our tab. I don't have anything else to add to that, though.
All right.
Thank you.
And the manager.
This is a graph of pillow tax revenue collected. As we know, we are a municipality in Adams County that has a police department, so we get a share of the county pillow tax that's collected. You can see the last 3 years roughly had the similar outcomes. So this is kind of how you also gauge tourism to the municipality or Adams County specifically. And things are doing quite well, which coincides with our revenue for parking. So I just thought this was an interesting graph to share with you, and here are the raw numbers. And these graphs show up in the manager's budget message for folks that want to see them and read a little more narrative about those statistics. Borough remains in a deficit in February. We always do. As the year comes along, we have some big bills to pay in January and early February. Most notably, some of our insurance bills have to go out. We also fund GARA at 50% of your appropriation, so they've gotten their 50% for the year. So that draws down. This will balance out as we get into the spring tax season come April. Other than that, I have nothing more to add. I think, are you going to talk about 250 at all during your report? Okay, so Ms. Seller will cover some 250 type items for you under Main Street's report.
All right. Any questions for the manager? All right. Anybody care to start making motions?
Sure. A motion to approve all bills and payrolls for the month as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next motion, please.
I'll make a motion to enact ordinance number 1501-26 for the purpose of amending the Borough of Gettysburg non-uniformed employees pension plan to amend the term compensation and to take effect retroactively as of January 1st, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Gable, can you give us a little background, please?
Essentially the language in the pension documents needs to be adjusted and amended to match the way the pension fund is actually being administered. So that's the high level take on this.
Yeah, so just I wanted everybody to understand what was going on with this weird one. This is really adjusting language in our ordinance to match our contracts, and it's cleaning up vocabulary essentially, so that we don't run afoul of our pension calculations.
And just so everyone understands, this in no way affects the solvency of the pension fund. In fact, as compared across the Commonwealth and other municipalities, our pension funds are quite well funded, almost to 100%. So again, no worries about taking care of our pensioners in retirement.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next motion for the fire department.
Sure. A motion to approve the Gettysburg Fire Department active volunteer eligibility list as submitted by the Chief of the Fire Department for the purposes of the Gettysburg Borough Volunteer Service Tax Credit Program and to authorize the issuance of the 2025 tax credit certificates accordingly.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The COLA increase.
A motion to authorize a COLA increase for the retired police pensioner Douglas McKinney to be paid from the police pension plan effective February 1st, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the last motion.
Sure. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 020926 to excuse the police from making contributions to the police pension fund for fiscal year 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That concludes new business. We'll now go to liaison reports, and we'll start the evening as we always do with Ms. Sellers from Main Street, Gettysburg. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Very good. Okay, just a couple of things going on. It's a busy year already for 2026. Coming this Saturday, third annual Gettysburg Loves Love event. So if you're ready to renew your vows, come down to the Gettysburg train station on Washington Street. Saturday morning, arrive around 11. There's pre-registration online, but there's going to be prizes and all sorts of drawings and fun things. But the ceremony is free and open to anybody that wants to come. And our new mayor, Mayor Carr, will be administering the ceremony. So very exciting. Alumni Park, I had a great meeting with Gettysburg Area Middle School as well as the Garden Club. So those two entities are going to partner to take care of Alumni Park going forward. I'm excited about that, and the students, student clubs and others, faculty advisors are going to take that on, and they're also going to decorate the park for Christmas. So that's a win for Main Street Gettysburg. We're happy for that. America 250 PA, so lots of things happening. So there's at least 100 events in Adams County already registered for this year. So if you're looking for things to do to celebrate America's 250th, they are right here in your backyard. We did have the kickoff on January 22nd. The State Commission was here at Hotel Gettysburg. We had over 100 people come and attend to kick off the event here of all the things that are going to be happening. And as we understand it, we were second only to Philadelphia in the size of our turnout. So it was a very exciting day for that. So, and I do have to make a big shout out to Adventure and Fun. They are one of our local businesses. They do balloon sculptures and all sorts of fun things, and they donated a nice, fun selfie station for fun pictures that day. So they're also doing that again for the Valentine's Day thing this weekend. So they're a great partner for community events. We continue to work with the Lincoln Fellowship of Pennsylvania on the Gettysburg Address event that will be happening in November. So stay tuned for more information on that, but it is coming together with lots of partners and things happening. We are on our 6th round application for the Baltimore Street project. That is to the U.S. Department of Transportation. It's the build application. So we're up to 21 letters of support, which is great, and a couple of them from our federal officials, which we're very excited about because we're getting the attention of the people that make these decisions ultimately. So that application rather is due at the end of the month. So it's getting wrapped up and taken care of. And then tomorrow we have another construction meeting with our awarded contractors for the Gettysburg Welcome Center. So materials are on order. The construction schedule is taking shape, and if the ground thaws soon, we'll be making a groundbreaking ceremony, and you will all be invited. So that's everything I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions from Ms. Sellers? All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Rio, anything to add after Al's presentation?
No, I do not.
It was pretty thorough.
It was good.
Mr. Berger, GMA.
Yeah, it was a pretty quiet meeting. We're close to put the Lincoln Avenue water replacement out to bid here in the spring. That's gonna be from 4th Street to Carlisle Street, a couple blocks there. So we're gonna bid in the spring and hopefully get rolling, get that done before July 4th. And auditors have been in-house, preparing for our 2025 audit. So that should be coming out here in a month or so.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mayers, I don't know if you've had a chance to make it to a bid meeting yet, have you?
Yes,
Excellent.
I did. Last Thursday, I went to the meeting. Just a few things that were on the agenda. There was one, Driftscape, which is a new free digital visitor guide. And that's being funded by Destination Gettysburg. So BID is looking to get that on their platform.
What is the name of it, I'm sorry?
It is, hang on, Driftscape.
Driftscape.
Let's see, the, as far as Bike Week, BID will make a $1,000 contribution to sponsor the parade. And we discussed the vow renewal, which has already been talked about. And then there was also some conversation about developing a walking tour as it relates to the Charters of Freedom Park. So that's something that they're considering working on. So that's about it.
Great, thank you. ACPA, Mayor Carr.
I was not available for their first meeting of the year, but the next one I will be attending. It's March 16th.
All right, thank you. I similarly was not able to connect with COG this month. Hopefully will this coming month. Mr. Berger, anything for Happy?
Yes, last month I mentioned the Boyd School Trail, which is just in its beginnings, but we did have a public meeting January 14th at the Gettysburg Rec Park. There were about 20 attendees. C.S. Davidson was there, had some people online. So people were given the background about that. It's going to be a trail, hopefully from the Biglerville Road to the high school. But again, that's in its initial stage. I do have a little tidbit from the trail study.
What?
As I always say, our trail study has been done for 2 years, but we did have contact with the deputy superintendent of the Gettysburg National Military Park, Zach Belitho, and he says the plan is still alive. The trails plan is still in progress with a trajectory toward completion by the end of the year, 2026. So he says we anticipate continued opportunities to collaborate with local stakeholders, including Happy.
Great.
So I'll keep you updated on their process because we're waiting on them.
Super. Thank you, sir. Ms. Stahl, do we have any updates from ACPO? All right, great. And I've asked Mr. Mooney to start working with Deb English on our recycling efforts. She's just back from extended medical leave, so hopefully they'll be able to connect soon and start thinking about opportunities for us to help our community clean itself up. You've got your fire and EMS reports, and that'll take us to elected officials' comments. And we'll start with Mayor Carr. Do you have anything you'd like to say tonight?
I do. Are you ready?
Got my pen.
So here we go, 1 month in office. I want to give a congratulations shout out to Officer Billy Orth. This month is 22 years in office, 22 years in position with the Borough Police, so 22 years of service. Officer Jordan Klunk on February 18th will be 8 years with the Borough. I was not able to attend the January 19th meeting of ACBA because I was celebrating the 44th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Remembrance Celebration at the chapel at Gettysburg College. I gave a proclamation there for infinite hope, encouraging all of our borough residents and visitors to reflect on the life, legacy, and teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., carrying forward his message of hope, dignity, and non-violence into our future. On January 21st, I attended a meeting for this year's Memorial Day Parade Commission. Lots of plans in the works for that, as you know, of course. America 250. It's going to be a big one. And so we are, the commission is encouraging everyone to consider donating towards that parade for, men and women that, have fought for a lot of what we live for here in this country. So let's show up, let's donate, let's show up to support them and see the parade. And of course, lay flowers at the graves at the cemetery. That parade, of course, is going to be on Memorial Day Monday, May 25th, 2026 at 2 p.m. On January 24th, I gave a proclamation in recognizing Project Gettysburg Leon for its dedication to strengthening lives, relationships, and shared humanity at home and abroad. On February 3rd, I gave a proclamation commending Gettysburg College's Majestic Theater on its 100th year, expressing the borough's gratitude for its enduring service to our community, and announced last week as Gettysburg College's Majestic Theater and Carl Held Week, encouraging all to remember the legacy, hold fond memories to our hearts, and enjoy memories yet to come within this beautiful theater for the next 100 years. Last week, I became a basketball fan. I hadn't been to a basketball game since high school, but when a former student of mine is a sophomore and he's going to be a starter on the team, I show up. And so Gettysburg College men's basketball team won 2 intense games last week that I watched, both of them. And that puts them now 8 straight wins for the Centennial Conference record. This makes them first place in the conference so far. They still have 4 games left before the tournament. I'm very excited. Go Bullets. On Valentine's Day, Saturday, February 14th, as Jill Sellers said, I'll be at the train station, Gettysburg Railway train station for Gettysburg Loves. Now, I know a lot of married couples, but I don't know all of the married couples in Adams County, and I am asking you to come and meet me and get your vows renewed. Whether you are married 1 year or 50 or more, please come and meet me. I would love to meet you there. It's a pretty cool experience, and it's free for the wedding vow renewals. Then there's some extra perks if you want to buy a ticket. Gettysburg Railway website. Some cool things happening on the train with candy and champagne. So come and see us. I want to give this shout out. A member of the fraternity and sorority community at Gettysburg College nominated Sergeant Chris Evans to receive their annual Outstanding Community Partner Award. That ceremony is going to be held, that award ceremony is going to be held on February 19th on campus. The Outstanding Community Partner Award is presented to one or more staff members at the Gettysburg College or members of the Gettysburg community who are outside of the Office of Student Activities and Greek Life staff members who are partners with the collective fraternity and sorority community. These members are recognized for their hard work on campus and their dedication to improving the fraternity and sorority community. For example, staff in other college offices, Office of Sexual Respect and Title IX, Campus Safety, etc. Congratulations, even though you haven't gotten the award yet, you're nominated, and I will be there to see you. So congratulations, Sergeant Evans. Just 1 month in office, I've met with some small business owners, residents, of course, our police department, and the president of Gettysburg College as well. At the end of this month, I will be meeting with about 20 different community leaders from various industries in the borough, including education, health, small businesses, tourism, and more. We'll be meeting right here in this room directly to hear directly from them what they would like from the borough and what their mayor can do for them to make it happen. I do have published office hours. Yes, it's only 1 day a week because I don't want to be bound to the office. I want to be out and about in the community, meeting you, going to events, setting appointments. But my actual office hours will be here in this building on Wednesdays, 3 to 5 p.m. And of course, any day by appointment with you. You can contact me, ccarr@gettysburgpa.gov. I will meet you at any time that is convenient for you, but I want to be out and about the community, including my office hours on the Gettysburg College campus, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., February 16th, March 16th, and April 20th at the Bullet Hole in the Student Union building at Gettysburg College. That's my first month. Thank you so much.
Anyone care to top that? Is there any other elected officials' comments?
I would like just on behalf of Project Gettysburg Loan to thank Mayor Carr for being at the auction and offering that proclamation. I'll just add that we know that Leon, Nicaragua is a sister city of Gettysburg, but lesser known is that Morelia in Michoacan in Mexico is also a sister city relationship that was established or adopted by the borough in 2004. But that was not reciprocated by Morelia, not for any mean reasons. I just think we never really pursued it with them. But Project Gettysburg Leon is interested in expanding the number of sister cities that we serve through our organization. And so to that end, we've engaged with the Mexican consul in Philadelphia, who will be here February 25th for a dinner, when some of our friends from Morelia will be here, some friends of Cesar Leal's, who's with the conservatory at Gettysburg College. And so PGL is sponsoring a dinner. It will be at the Majestic Patrons Lounge, and Mayor Carr will be there to hopefully start those conversations. The consul the Mexican consul has said that if we want to establish that relationship formally, we will need help to do it. We can't just like write to the mayor of Morelia. So he said he'd be happy to help us with that. So.
All right, thank you. Ms. Prieto.
As Mayor Carr said, the Fraternity and Sorority Greek Leaders Award is taking place. It's put on by Order of Omega, and I'm the president of Order of Omega, so I actually am organizing it all, and I was very excited to see your name. So yeah, I just want to emphasize how much better the relationship has gotten between the Greek community and the borough/police department. The Greek community is the largest student organization that we have on campus, so we're super excited to continue these opportunities, and we're also super excited to have Mayor Carr there. And thank you for all your guys' great work.
All right, thank you. Is there any other elected officials' comments? All right, that'll take us to our second public comment section of the evening. This section is not restricted to items on the agenda, but we do ask that you use the podium. Please state your name and address of residence, and please limit yourself to 5 minutes. Is there any public comment? All right, seeing none, we will adjourn to executive session. Thank you.